Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, and I am bringing you a special commentator with me once again. It's going to be Vorosh from the last set. Lita versus Live Vorosh is back, and he's going to help me commentate a very special game. This is the finals from the International Esports Festival, IeSF. This is a game between Nada and Yellow, first in a five-set series. The first game is going to be on Luna, and I'll tell you what the other ones are later as they come up. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun here, seeing two old school, very, very accomplished player, Nada being the most accomplished player pretty much in StarCraft ever. I think, yeah, he's got more medals, more stuff than even Boxer, so he is definitely the most accomplished. And then Yellow, the first King of Silver, also going to be playing here today. So Yellow actually took down Boxer in the semifinals of this tournament, so that's a little bit of interest as well if you want to go watch that. I don't think we're going to go and commentate that, but if you want to go check that out on John747 or somewhere else, those were some pretty awesome games as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Vorosh and let's see what he wants to say about these two players, two very, very old school accomplished players. They've played, like, I don't even know how many times, like 30 times or something, so definitely a lot of history between these two.
Even though these two players weren't really at their peaks at the same time, their accomplishments I think somewhat mirror each other because Nada has 6 gold medals, the most of any pro gamer, and Yellow has 6 silver medals, the most second places of any pro gamer. Um, just in case you are not familiar with this map, this is Luna. If you play iCup, you still probably play it pretty frequently, but we haven't really seen it in any tournaments lately. And I think just in terms of the form these players are in, that Yellow's at the Air Force and he doesn't have as much time to practice. Um, but he's still definitely pretty good. If anyone saw Yellow versus Boxer, he proved that he was still pretty good. But I think Nada's just in a little bit of a superior form, so it's going to be an uphill fight for Yellow in that respect. And it looks like Yellow's going to be going for a standard 12 hatch. Luna's a bit problematic for Zerg because the third gas that you might take is kind of really open. So if that plays, if at least I always found that to be a problem when I play. But if Nada can try to exploit that, it might even cement that advantage that he has.
Oh, look at this. Nada going for a 2-Rex opening here, so he's going to try and put us on some early
Oh,
pressure. Could have a lot of success here, actually, against a 12 hatch by Yellow. A bunch of Marines coming out, as well as possibly a bunker rush following it up. We could be seeing old school build between old school players. That could be pretty sweet here. And Yellow's trying to stop this barracks from going up, or at least try and distract it a little bit. The SCV is already down to like 25 health or something like that, but he's not going to be able to stop this. He's going to have to throw up some, bring off drones probably even to stop off the first couple Marines that are coming. I don't think that he's going to be able to wait for his Zerglings. And yeah, Nada definitely putting the pressure on Yellow right off the bat. And that 11 pool is just going to be so late. Still not even completed. Marines should already be completed and starting to send out very soon. We got 2 Marines out on the ramp, and we're waiting to see when Nada decides to push out, how many Marines he waits for before he starts this rush, and it's probably going to be a bunker rush. He's got a lot of SCVs wandering around. It looks like he's got 3 or so SCVs wandering around the map, so there should be a bunker rush coming up as well. And Yellow going for a layer right off the bat. I don't know about that. That's kind of odd. No, seeing the 2-Rex transitioning right into a layer, that's kind of a risky build on a risky decision in my opinion. Although Nada's not really producing any more Marines out of his rack, so I'm kind of confused here what Nada's going for. I thought that was going to be a very early pressure. Now he's not producing any Marines. What do you think here, Vorosh? I'm a little bit on the confused side here.
Nada's already going for a command center, so maybe this was just a ploy to get a really fast expansion. It doesn't make much sense to me. Um, and that wasn't like uh that wasn't a BBS. He put down his supply depot before he placed either of those barracks. So it was just, I guess he's faking a 2-Rax build and just immediately taking an expansion because he thinks Yellow's going to be passive and slow to move out of his base as a result of that. If he was going to go for a 2-Rax build, I think it more plays into the heads of Yellow because Yellow's when Nada was at his most dominant, it was somewhere in between the macro style game it is today and the micro style game that the climate that Yellow played in. But like Yellow's definitely a lot more familiar with playing against 2-Rex build than Nada is executing them. So trying to switch this up back into a macro game, I think, helps him a little bit because Yellow, um, definitely really isn't on top of his macro. He's not a great macro player. It looks like Yellow just tried to stop Nada from taking his natural, but Nada's got more Marines than Yellow has Zerglings, so that's probably not going to happen. And it looks like a two-hatch Spire is what we're going to see from Yellow. So this is going to be really interesting because Yellow's got some pretty. Yellow's been playing since before Mutamicro existed, but he's still got some pretty good Mutamicro.
Yeah, definitely. And he's trying to continue to put pressure on here with the Zerglings. Might actually be able to pick off one SCV, maybe darting in there, getting the one SCV, so just doing a little bit of damage. And might actually be able to take the ramp as well if he wants to. And Yellow, interesting. I don't actually like this decision by Yellow to charge in there. Yeah, that's a slaughter fest right there. I think he would have been better off just darting right into the main, splitting off a lot of his Zerglings, darting into the main, and maybe trying to pick off some of the reinforcing Marines, maybe trying to use this multitask and try and take on the SCVs at both bases, something along those lines, whereas rather than what he did do there and just sort of charged into a line, a huge ball of Marines and SCVs blocking that came off the line to block, so it wasn't really successful on his point. But Nada, I think, knows that the two-hatch Spire's coming. I think his SCV was in there for a really long time, saw the layer morphing in, and I mean, he's got to know that it's some sort of two-hatch play, whether it's Lurkers or Spire. So he should be prepared, should be getting an eBay up. There it is. There's the eBay, almost completed. So he should have turrets up well in time. And yeah, I don't know how good Yellow's Mutalisk micro is going to be. We see the first Mutalisk already out right now. But yeah, we got 6 Mutalisks out, and we got a little bit of a ball here of Medic and Marine for Nada, but he's got to keep these Mutalisks at home at least for a little while until he can get all of his turrets up, because he doesn't have turrets up quite yet. They are going to be a little bit late, but it doesn't look like Yellow's really pressing the issue here, not trying to try and force it, because he can't really. If he does try and go to Nada's main, then Nada can just push in right at Yellow's natural, and there's nothing Yellow's going to be able to do to defend. And Yellow getting a couple decent swoops in here, but not really killing too many Marines. There's too many medics there, and not enough Mutalisks to really one-shot the Marines quite yet, and that's going to be a problem for him. Missile turrets coming up everywhere, and Yellow really needs to do some damage off of a two-hatch Muta build. You can't afford to just sit here on 2 base versus 2 base and not do some damage and not try and take an expansion. Otherwise, you're just going to fall behind the longer this goes on. So the onus right now is really on Yellow to do some damage, and it doesn't really look like he's gonna be able to here. It just doesn't look like his swooping, his Mutalisk micro is quite up to snuff here to really do some damage. I think he would have been better off if he had kept those Lings alive for right now and done a little Ling attack or something along those lines. But those early Ling losses are really hurting him right now, I think.
Yeah, the whole time I was watching this, I'm like, if only he had a dozen lings, this attack would be going completely the other way. He could totally stomp all over this Medic Marine force if he could just engage with Mutas while getting a brilliant surround that I know he's capable of. He's already lost, I believe, 3 Mutalisks, and